Hi and welcome to tutorial 72, and I was asked by somebody on the Gold Pass membership how one would go about drawing a set of 3 horizontal lines where the top line was a certain user specified distance above the middle line and the lower line was a certain user specified distance below the middle line, and then if we were to move the middle line, then the lines would move with the middle line, retaining their distances. So you can see here I'm just moving the line, the red line, and the other lines are adjusting accordingly. So what I'm going to do is first of all do a simple video, and I'm not going to concern myself with the colors or the text positioning, just to try and keep it simple. And then in a second video, which I'm going to make available to Gold Pass members, I'm going to show how you would do the same thing but using the new TradeStation 9 timer and also using a method. And the reason for that is if we were to go into here and format the symbol and change the last date to yesterday, which happens to be the 29th of November, and say OK, and now if I try and move that middle line, you'll see that nothing is happening, and that is because the program is waiting for the next tick. With the timer we would not get that problem. So let's just go back and change the last date to today so that the chart will refresh, and what I'm going to do is just go ahead and create the simple program. So I've already included my inputs and variables just to save a little bit of typing time, and just to explain those, first of all, above middle, that is the multiple of the min move over price scale above the midline. Below middle is the multiple of min move over price scale below the midline. And then I mentioned that when this program is first applied to a chart, we want to position it literally halfway up the chart. And the way we do that is using get app info AI lowest display value and get app info highest display value. So we take the difference between the highest and the lowest, multiply by a half or divide by 2, and then we add it to the lowest display value, and that gives us the position that we're going to use it, that we're going to display that red line when we first apply this to the chart. In terms of variables, I've created a mid val, and this always stores the middle value, so we're going to use that when we move the line. That will find out what that new position is. Top val stores the top value, bottom value, the bottom value, and then the rest of these are references to drawing objects. So underscore mid is a reference to the middle line drawing object. Underscore top is a reference to the top line drawing object. Underscore bottom is a reference to the bottom line drawing object, and then top val txtref for the text for the top line. Middle val text txtref is text reference for the middle line for the middle text, and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the program. So initially what we need to do is create the original lines and position them in the correct places. So what we need to do is we're going to use a once begin statement, and once means that literally the program will do whatever's in here once and then it won't refer back to this. And we need to calculate the top value. So the top value is, or rather top val is equal to the original value, which is orig val, and if you remember, that is calculating the middle vertically middle part of the chart, plus, and then we use this user input above middle. I'm just going to copy it here, and then that is multiplied by the min move over price scale. I'm just going to copy it from the comments here as well, just to save a little bit of typing time. And then the bottom value is equal to, let me just copy this and I'll just edit it, so it is equal to the original value minus, and instead of above middle we want to use the below middle times min move over price scale. So we now know all the positions, and the next thing we want to do is draw some lines. So I mentioned that underscore mid contains the reference for the middle line drawing object. We're going to use TL new to draw a line, and we're going to draw this from date of 0, time of 0, orig val, which again is the middle value in the chart. I'm going to draw that all the way to current date and current time, and again orig value val. So that's the mid line. We also need to create some middle text to tell us what that value is. So I'm just going to copy this here, middle text ref, and before we do that, the other thing we want to do with this line is just set it so that it's extended to the right. So we do that using TL set ext right, and the syntax for that is we put in the reference, which is mid, and we say true. So that makes sure that the line is extended all the way to the right. Okay, so let's put in the value text. We use text underscore new, and we tell that where we want this to be drawn, and we want to draw it at the current date, the current time, and then the value where we want it to be drawn, which I'm just going to use orig val, which is the same value as the line, as the middle line. And then with this particular function, you can't just plot a number, you have to convert it to a string. We do that using num to string, and again we just put in orig val, and then I'm doing this to 4 decimal places. You can easily change that to 5 or whatever you want if you want a different number of decimal places. Okay, so that is the middle line and the middle text. So what I'm going to do is just copy this, and we'll just change it for the others. Incidentally, if you do decide to download this program, I have added comments, and also I've added the slight changes so that you get the various formatting and coloring of the various lines and text, etc. But just want to keep this as simple as possible. So the next one we're going to draw is the top, and again the syntax is very similar, only now we're going to use top val instead of orig val. And I'm going to extend that to the right as well, top, and again let's just change those vowels, top val, top val. And then finally for the bottom, so very similar, just going to modify this. I'm going to extend the bottom line to the right, and this should be top val ref, or yep, let me just double check that, make sure it agrees with our variables. Yes, it does. And then finally the bottom one is going to be bottom text ref, or bottom val text ref, txt ref I should say. Okay, so I think that is everything to do the initial positioning of the line. I'm just going to press F3, see if we've made any errors there. Okay, that's looking good. So let's go ahead. I've already applied this to the chart, so what I'm going to do is going to turn off the, as it were, the final one, which at the moment is 72, so I'm changing the status of that. And we've got 72B, which is the one we're working on, already applied. Okay, so let's just have a look at the inputs there, and we need to change these to make this a little bit more visible. So I'm going to change that from 100, 200, and we should see those lines moving apart. Okay, so you'll notice that the color's different from the program we were looking at, but you can see we've basically got the same thing. Now the problem is, now if we move the line, you'll see that absolutely nothing happens, and that is because we have the program's just telling the chart to draw this thing once and then be done with it. So what we need to do is add some additional functionality to cope with moving the lines. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to say if last bar on chart and mid val is not equal to, and then we're going to use a thing called TL get end val. And what this does is finds the value of the line, and the line that we're testing is the middle line. So we're saying if it's the last bar on the chart and the middle line has moved since the last time we checked its value, then begin. And the first thing we're going to do is set the new mid val to be equal to this get end val, like so. Then we need to recalculate the top value and the bottom value, so I'm just going to copy those there. Like so. Now we've actually moved the middle line ourselves, so we don't need to reposition that, but we do need to do a couple of things with the text. We need to move the text, and we need to change the value of the text for that middle line. So we do the moving the text using text underscore set location, and the inputs for that are first of all the middle value text ref, because we're just moving an existing text object. So we need to tell the program which one we're moving, and we do that using that reference. And then we need to tell it where we want to move it. So in terms of the date, we're going to use the current date, the current time, and then we need to tell it where it's going to go. Well, we know that the new position of the line is mid-val because we've just discovered that using this get end value. So that should move the value, rather the text. What we now need to do is change the value of that text. We do that using text underscore set string, and again we need to tell it which text object we're dealing with. So I'm just going to copy this reference here, save typing, and we need to tell it what we're going to change it to. So again we need to put in a string, and we need to convert a number to a string, and we do that using num to string. Then we put in mid-val. Again, we're just going to do it to 4 decimal places, but again you might wish that to be 5 for foreign exchange or whatever. And okay, so we've changed the position of the text, we've changed the value of the text for that middle line. We moved the middle line ourselves, so what we now need to do is move the top and the bottom lines. We do that using TL underscore set begin. We're going to first of all do that for the top line, so that's underscore top, and we're going to set that of a begin date of 0, a beginning time of 0, and then top val. And that's the thing, top val is what we've just recalculated. And we need to do the same thing with set end. Except obviously it's different syntax, it's set end instead of set begin. Same reference though, underscore top, and we're going to use this to current date, spell that correctly, current time, and then again we want that to go to top val. And then we do something very similar for the bottom line. Let's just do that, then we can take care of the text afterwards. So okay, so they're the lines. What we also need to do is take care of the positioning of the strings associated with those lines, in other words, the text. So again, we're going to use, I'm just going to copy these just to save a little bit of time. So this is the top val txt ref, and set this is going to be the top val. And again, we need to change the actual value of what the string is displaying. So we're going to do that using the top val txt ref and change the value to top val. Okay, so that's the top line and the top text done. And now finally we just need to do the text for the bottom line. So what I'm going to do is just copy this again and just change the values. Okay, we need an end statement there, and just check the syntax here. We've got a couple of got an extra comma there for some reason. And okay, so let's verify the program. We're going to do that by pressing F3, or you could tick the little green tick, and it looks like we don't have any actual errors, but there is actually an error here. I'll show you in a moment, because if we now move this middle line, you'll see that the line moves, the text moves. It appears that that text is reflecting the actual price, but you'll notice that the middle and the bottom lines are not moving, so we've made a mistake. So let's just go back to the program and see if we can see what that is. So what I've noticed is that when we're calculating the top value and the bottom value, we're using the original value here, which is, as you know, the middle value of the chart. What we actually need to use now is this mid-val, because mid-val has changed, and consequently we can't just keep on using the original value, otherwise those two lines will not move. So again, I'm going to press F3. Looks good, and the chart is refreshed. So let's now move that middle line, and yes, we're seeing the other lines moving. You'll notice here, for instance, we're waiting for a tick before the move occurs. So if you're a Gold Pass member, I'll show you how you can avoid that by using the timer. Anyway, that's an introduction to the basics of this. As I say, if you do decide to download the program, I'm going to include both this program, the program where the program is commented, and we use the different colors for the lines and the text and positioning of the text. And I'm also going to include the program that includes the timer and the method. So anyway, I hope that was useful.